Right, as I said, my name is Nick Appleyard. I just talk about TriStar Gold here. So, normal disclaimers for everybody. Managers and directors, just a little bit of background. So myself and the management, you see there, CFO, Vice President, and Moshe Ravastovos, did a management takeover of this company in December 2015. At that time, we had a couple of 100,000 ounces in the ground, and the project was considered a very small project, looking at 10 ton an hour operation in Brazil. So things have changed a lot since then, as I'm about to show you. So our structure now, we've got about 190 million shares outstanding. We've got a market cap of just over 60 million. Importantly, we've got 6.5 million Canadian in the bank. We've got another 2 million Canadian due to us from Royal Gold in the end of March. So basically, we're really nicely funded through all of our work that I'm going to talk about today. Everything we want to do this year is all financed either by Royal Gold or a small placement that we did in December last year. The other thing that I want to mention here, we're really proud of the fact that we've got some really good institutional shareholders, US Global, Gold 2000, RBC, Sun Valley. They've been in there supporting us along the way and have really helped us achieve this growth we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, you can just look at the stock chart there. That we couldn't have done that without the support of these shareholders. So, and I think one thing I'd like people to take away from this talk, if you can remember a couple of things, is that there's quality names, US Global, Gold 2000, Royal Gold. I mean, this project is attracting some quality, and there's some good reasons for that. So the property is called Castelo de Sonhos, which means Castle of Dreams. It's a reasonably large land package, about 18,000 hectares. We control it 100%. It is a paleoplacer, which means it's an ancient deposit that's over 2 billion years old. Alluvial fan, deposited at that time and then buried and come to the surface again recently. We have about 19 kilometers of outcrop where we have gold-bearing conglomerates breaking surface. We have 2 analogous deposits currently in production around the world, which has helped us through our learning curve over the last 3 or 4 years, which are Tarkwa and Jacobina. We've actually hired consultants from, ex-chief geologists from Goldfields, Ray Lipson, I believe I saw in the room somewhere, has been helping us massively over the last 3 or 4 years understand this deposit. And so the learning curve that they've gone through for the last 20, 30 years, we can start from that point and move forward. The other really nice things about this project, so we now understand the geology really well. It's really simple. We've got simplicity and scale are the 2 things I like to think about. We've got infrastructure near us. We've got shallow gold-bearing conglomerates breaking surface, so shallow open pit mining. Very simple metallurgy. I have not seen a grain of sulfide on site. It's fresh rock, but there is no sulfides in it, so we have simple metallurgy, very high metallurgical recoveries in the high 90s if we do cyanide leaching. Gravity recoveries can be quite high as well, just on their own, because it is just free gold in these conglomerates. And that leads obviously to an environmentally clean deposit, which should aid in permitting as we move forward. The other thing that we really like is there's upside. We've only just started developing this project. We've been drilling it. We've been targeting the low-hanging fruit. And as you see, our PEA and the feasibility study we're talking about now is just one corner of the project. And there's a lot more to learn about this project. And I think a lot more growth available in it. So about a year ago now, we published a PEA. We did get the resources to a total 1.3 million ounces inferred, 700,000 ounces of indicated. We thought that was enough growth on the total resources, so we stopped and did PEA. As you can see, we ran at $1,250 gold. I mean, it was just sensational, but it's a 51% IRR pre-tax, 43 post-tax. The post-tax NPV, $260 million, and with a fairly modest capital of only $180 million to get this started. A lot of that is because we are so close to infrastructure. We don't have any big add-on builds. It's really the gold plant and the mine, a short power line, about 20 kilometers, and that's it. We don't even have to have a camp on site. We've got a town about 20 kilometers away, which will host all of the staff. And obviously with those economics, we have an all-in sustaining of under 700 and payback in less than 2 years at $1,250 gold a year ago. Is interesting to note, people talk about the gold price, and I know people worried it went down $50 on Friday, but it's still $1,580. A year ago, our upside that we contemplated was $1,400, so I think we've got to keep that in mind sometimes. So as I said, a year ago now, or August last year, we closed a transaction with Royal Gold. They bought a 1.5% NSR from us for $8 million US. And what they've asked us is we can take that money, do a pre-feasibility study. So we are in the middle of that now. We are now 15,000 meters into a 20,000 meter RC program. And what I want to point out here is the feasibility study and most of the PEA that I just talked about is all just Esperanza South. It is just that southeast corner of the asset. And this is one deposit, one continuous deposit broken by a couple of faults. So there's a lot more upside, a lot more to talk about. But the feasibility study is developing just Esperanza South. So as I said, the timing for that now, we expect to have the resource drilling finished in April, early May, resource estimations completed mid-year, probably July, August, and then the mine optimization pits, plant design, costing, completed in Q4 and published in Q4 this year. Just for those who are interested, it's being done by CSA Global, who I think are pretty good consultants, and Pito and Associates are doing the hydrology and geotech. Okay, so I see my job as chief storyteller to make sure, by the way, when we get to the end of this year, we're going to have a feasibility study with proven and probable reserves, assuming everything goes well, and we assume it will. But I want to make sure people don't think that's the whole project. That is just the shallow mineralization at Esperanza South. In December, we raised a couple of $1 million to specifically target exploration and upside and uncover the value in the rest of the asset. So we are working with Gold Spot Discoveries on their machine learning technology to explore and really uncover everything else there is on this plateau. Now, I think we've probably only drilled about 60 to 70% of the strike length where the conglomerate outcrop. We have, at depth, remobilized gold along where the intrusive comes. That's the big target that we're looking for, really to uncover this year. So, I think what the real takeaway is, when we get to November, December this year, we're going to have reserves, and we're going to know what else is on this asset. We've got the money to do the feasibility study, and we've also got the money to do the exploration. So we're well funded to do all of that work. And it's going to be interesting to see where we can get to. Just a little slide on our total resources as they currently stand. You can also see there the way it's grown over the last 3 years or 3 or 4 years. And that growth is not going to stop. This is a young project in its project development. We are in the exciting phase of growing a project and uncovering value and unlocking the value. So keep watching. I consider myself and my team project developers. So when we look at a project, some of the critical aspects are the infrastructure. Here's a couple of photos. President Bolsonaro just last week was within a few kilometers of the project, formally opening up Highway 163, which is a highway that runs right by us within 15 kilometers of the project, pictured there. The power lines, those power lines have gone in fairly recently. Again, they're actually there for the soybean industry. That's the soybean industry which is driving this infrastructure, but with the benefits of it. But that's what really, really helps us in this project, is this closeness to infrastructure, but remoteness from a lot of people, so we can build mines here. We are also, it's worth mentioning, previously disturbed country. It's cattle grazing country where we're working. We're not in a national park. We're not in, adjacent to or on top of any indigenous populations. So there's no red flags yet coming up on any permitting issues. And that's it from me. It's a really simple story. A couple more photos, but this is simplicity and scale. It's moving forward really fast right now. And, I think by the end of this year, it's going to look very, very different. It's going to be a very exciting story.